I'm beat. I just, you know, in the animal rescue world, you win some and you lose some. Well, tonight I lost one. I was on my way home from an event late, 11 o'clock at night, and a bunny ran out in front of my truck. And the timing of it, I know he missed the first wheel. And the timing, I did not think he hit the last wheel either. But as I kept driving and I was looking back in the rearview mirror, I could see the silhouette of the body on the ground from the headlights of the cars way down the way. And so I quickly flipped a U-turn, came back and parked in the middle of the street and put my hazards on and jumped out, and he was not squished and he was not bleeding. And so I called a friend in the animal rescue group and asked for some guidance. I know, baby, I know. I know. Oh, man. Yeah. So, I know. Do you know? So, I just cleaned out my truck, so I had nothing in there. But I had a towel on the floor. So I grabbed the towel and I go out there and pick the bunny out of the road. And he's flopping around and convulsing. So I wasn't sure if it was, stun, shock. At the time, I thought that because there was no blood and it wasn't squished, that she had ran into the other tire as it's spinning and caused that concussion. But it was like a jackrabbit. Like its body would flip and it would go 2 feet in the air and land like 2 sidewalk squares over. And so I'm like, I can't just leave this here on the side of the road in the grass. He's gonna, in no time, flop back in the road and get squished. And so I grab a towel and I find a box in the back of my truck that had some car parts in it. So it's like a smaller box, a couple inches. And it was enclosed on on like the top and the bottom, and then 2 sides. So there was like an L-shaped opening. And so I wrapped the bunny in the blanket and put him in the box like that with his back towards the closed part and its legs facing like the out part. And then kept him compressed so he wasn't flopping around. It happened right by my house. I was able to, turn the corner, get inside, put him in larger, kept him exactly how he was in that, but placed that box in a file cabinet box, so that way he couldn't be moving in out of the open areas, and it kept that box somewhat compressed. But I pulled the towel up and out from where his nose and mouth was, so there wasn't a suffocation if he was breathing. And then she was slowly calming down, and the labored breathing was getting less, and that I didn't know if that was a good sign that he was calming down and the stress was calming and whatnot, or if it was a bad sign. At this point, we're thinking brain injury, internal bleeding. There was some red in one of the eyes, but sometimes bunnies have red eyes, and so it's not necessarily a sign of one way or the other. Foxy, come here. Come here, baby. So, come here. Hey, come here. I'll get you a treat. So, I said my prayers and asked for a saving grace if that's what was meant to be, or asked for a calm and peaceful transition. And I was granted that. Minutes later, Bugs Bunny was gone. And so that's what was meant to be, but it's still hard. In those moments, you still have that flutter of hope in you. That ounce of hope, the hair follicle of hope, the toenail of hope, right? The odds are against this little creature. But God had me stop my truck in the middle of the road and put my flashers on. Foxy, come here. Come here. Hey, come say hi to the camera. To get this bunny out of the road so that way it could have a peaceful and calm transition instead of flopping around the road for 20 minutes until ultimately it would have 100% ended its life horribly in a horrible, horrible way. So, why did God have that bunny come running out in front of my car? I don't know. Why did the bunny not make it? Well, it was definitely, probably, most likely not going to make it anyways. But I do know that it was put on my heart to stop. Something told me that it wasn't roadkill, that it wasn't squished, and that I needed to intervene. Humanity was created to look out for each other and look out for the world and look out for the animal kingdom. And while there's people that go on hunting trips for trophies, I know there's 20 times more people that are like me who stop at 11:30 at night in the middle of the road, potentially risking an accident and my car being totaled. And you never know when people are not paying attention on the road. And I contemplated calling the non-emergency 911 number to at least park behind me so I can get this bunny out of the way. But I know that they would just say, let it be. But I couldn't do that. I am happy that it was able to pass quietly in a dark room and calmly, and that it wasn't traumatically, literally jumping 2-3 feet across concrete and landing, jumping, landing, flopping. It was trying to stabilize itself, but it likely had internal bleeding. And so here we are. I don't even know what time it is, probably midnight. I am talking to my phone to process this, and in return, or in effect, talking to all of you watching, maybe the 5 of you watching, but if you made it this far, uh, if you will say a prayer for little Bugs Bunny. And I encourage you, next time a situation like this happens, don't, and you know, there's times when we can't, I understand, but if you're able to, stop and see. You know, you never know. I mean, there's so many rescue stories where someone will stop an opossum that's clearly dead, and what people don't realize is that baby opossums that live in the pouches can continue to live on for a period of time. And like, there's so many stories where someone will find a half squished opossum, and they'll literally on the side of the road reach their hand into their what's it called, marsupial sack, I don't know, their area, and pull out living, breathing babies that survive and that get rehabbed and cared for. And so you never know. You never know. You know, you can't get your hopes up, but there's always that chance that God asks you to stop, to be the facilitator, to be his hands. And so with that, I will leave you to have a good night. Good night.